why don't they stop to catch their breath, right? Right?
I think I agree. That could be more of an editing thing or whatever. But if you look at, I think there's two examples of this. One, if you look at Terminator 2 with Robert Patrick
Mm-hmm.
running, because he was playing a machine that works out really well. Keanu Reeves in the John Wick films, that shows exhaustion based on the action. He's not just like stoically mowing. Okay, yes, he's mowing down through all these enemies as he's going through his scenes, but you see exhaustion as he's going through it. It's not like he's just a Tom Cruise where he's perfect in every single scene and
Yeah.
he doesn't, he doesn't get tired or whatever as he's running as he's running through whatever with his high knee kick and all that other stuff that he does, the classic
And
Tom Cruise run.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So when I say this statement, I am mostly referring back to this film. I don't know, I think in the early 2000s. Actually, I cannot pinpoint the year, but the director of this film was so. I mean, he didn't really had a lot of money. So the initial idea was to film a movie about the bombings in Bombay, and
Okay.
then put it in like DVD and sell it. But he couldn't. So he took a flight to America. He had this DVDs with him. He gave it
Mhm.
to these, the video stores. And then what happened was they somehow the director of Slumdog Millionaire.
Mhm.
I don't know who he is actually. I cannot remember his name. But he got the DVD, and he actually made Slumdog Millionaire after watching that movie, because there was this amazing sequence where this fat policeman is chasing this goon. I don't know how to put it.
Sure.
Yeah, goon, and then he actually starts to catch his breath while the goon is catching his breath. So it makes it look that okay, it is reality. We are watching it.
Mhm.
We are not watching a film which is perfectly made. We are observing it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Do you agree?
No, no, I agree. Yeah, I think it's just it really depends on what the script calls for and what the scene calls for. If you're doing more observational filmmaking, whether as if you're an observer, like um, there's a really good film, an indie film, where it was simultaneously shot on four different cameras, and it appeared in like four quadrants on the screen. I can't think of the name of it, and it was like the lives of four
Mm-hmm.
individuals somehow intertwined together, and you saw their lives through the four different quadrants, and sometimes it would go black, and you would see them interacting with different things, and sometimes they would cross whether they knew it or not, but you didn't know that as the observer. I think that's a really cool way to make films because you're not, it's not a narrated, it's a narrative film, but it's not a narrative film in your eyes, at least from that particular sequence. I think that's the most difficult thing to really pull off because if you're working with a single camera, that gives you more. It doesn't give you more flexibility, but you have to get the shot you're trying to focus on. Rather than cutting from one shot to another as
Mm-hmm.
if you had like three different cameras on the same particular scene. I think a lot of first person perspective films would be more interesting these days because it's something different. Um,
There is
but
actually
I
a
think,
rise in the reels meta glasses with the FOV thing, the
okay,
first person thing. So I think there might be a very big gap in those films. So I mean, whoever is listening and whoever have a GoPro, he can make a film, or she can, right? That's a good, because
yeah.
I cannot remember this name of this film, this action film, shot in first person. It starts with a guy, in an airplane, and then he
Oh,
some yeah
something Henry,
yeah
hardcore Henry.
hardcore Henry, and that's a great
Yeah,
film.
yeah, yeah. That was really interesting. That was like a take on. like Agent 47
Mm-hmm.
from those that
Yeah.
particular
No,
video game
I get.
series.
So,
So
where do you think your obsession over pop culture began?
I think for me it was, well, growing up in the 80s, like you lived the pop culture of that era. Cartoons for me, I think, uh, going back to the He-Man and She-Ra and GI Joe and shows that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm kind of jumping decades. X-Men, Spider-Man back in the 90s, sci-fi, Star Wars and Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
Highlander, even for me. Like I just, there was so many things growing up that you just kind of get encased in the pop culture of of those eras, of those decades. Um, Nowadays it's so fast paced, and everything that is old is new again. So there's
Yeah.
a cyclical media consumption for a lot of this stuff. A lot of people are now, that are of your generation, are realizing that having physical media like DVDs and Blu-rays are the way to go, rather
Yeah.
than spending however many hundreds of dollars on streaming platforms, because something can be taken away that you really enjoy.
Yeah, because
um,
recently the Friends was removed from Netflix or something.
oh, oh wow, didn't
I
know
think
that.
it was either Friends or Big Bang Theory. So it is a problem. I mean, I really want this thing. I can just put it in and watch it. But in streaming, I have to wait and I have to watch these ads. Why would I watch an ad about jewelry as a guy? I cannot
Exactly.
understand that, right? Either personalize the ad to my YouTube feed or just don't have ads. And these are
Yeah.
very expensive streaming services. I pay almost 1500 rupees, which is I don't know
Oof.
how many in Canadian, but a year,
Yeah.
and it is a lot for Prime Video, and Prime Video doesn't really have that much good series to watch.
Exactly. Yeah, I've been noticing that a lot. I still have I have Netflix and I have Amazon Prime. The Prime is more for the shipping side of things for me, just because I usually get a
Mm-hmm.
lot of stuff. But the content that they have, a lot of it is good. I mean, I do love the Fallout series.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
fun to watch. But when that goes away, what else am I actually going to watch there? Like even my folks don't watch
I mean,
Amazon Prime; they
it's
watch
gonna
Netflix.
end one day. The show is gonna end one day,
Sure,
right?
yeah,
Because
but
I remember watching Money Heist, and the season
mm,
5 came, and I was like, it ended. What's next? And then the Money Heist Korea came, and we don't really have another season for that. Berlin
mm,
came, and Berlin was quite good, but there wasn't another season for Berlin too,
yeah.
right? I mean, it's a big problem with the TV show in the previous times. I mean, I'm speaking like I'm an old guy, but Friends and all of those shows, these sitcoms,
Yeah.
mockumentaries, they had a lot of episodes per season. Nowadays, it's like 8 episodes a season, and then they're gone for like 2 3 years.
Yeah, there's also a new trend of filmmaking nowadays, and I don't know if it's reached that side of the world. It probably has, but it's called, they're called verticals, and they're literally just 1 minute segments of an entire film released, either hourly or whatever it is, and it's just you just and it's for the scrolling, people that are on the social media platforms that like the
I
short
think I've heard of
stories and
it.
all that.
I
Yeah,
think.
it it's a huge industry in Toronto and Canada and North America, because all you're doing is you're filming in an entire day. You're filming
Hmm.
like 150 scenes, and it's all just shot vertically, and it's all focused in. I mean, it's shot horizontal, but they're
Mm-hmm.
focusing
Yeah.
per person on a vertical standpoint, and it's just quick. Like it's like the soap operas, but faster.
Mm-hmm.
So daytime television is still going on after 50 some odd years, but now it's a new generation with the vertical content, and there are productions where they're just literally banging out like 3 or 4 scripts in like a week, and just releasing the content
Yeah.
because it's just well done in house.
It's not even that expensive to make it, right? That's one of the
Yeah.
things. And I think it's really popular in the Chinese market too. Maybe in
Mm.
India too. I don't really know about Indian things, but yeah, Chinese, they are very much into it. They actually have another app, and I mean they have another app for anything, right? But yeah,
Yeah.
they do, and they have actually filmed this as like a TV show. They have parts to it,
Mm.
and it's
Yeah.
not limited to the real life thing. It's actually also into the sci-fi and fantasy too. So I mean, they're putting a lot of money in this.
Oh yeah, it's $1 billion industry. It's it the Hallmark industry. You know those Christmas films
Mm-hmm.
from Hallmark. That's a last time I heard it was like a $4 billion industry in North
Oh my
America.
God, that's a lot.
Just just just
Yeah.
alone, and it's the same format.
Mm-hmm.
Person
It's
travels
copy and
from big
paste.
city to the thing. Oh yeah, it's completely copy and paste. One was shot down here in southwestern Ontario,
Yeah.
and they said it was Chicago
I
when
mean, it's
in
not that
reality it was
far. You
Canada.
guys are not that far from Chicago, are you? Because like Lake,
4 hours away.
yeah, it's not that far away.
No, no, it isn't. But it's like they're going to use like they'll use Detroit for
Mm-hmm.
sections of New York sometimes, or they'll use Toronto for a good chunk of the American television that gets released out there, just because it's a cheaper filming locations and all that. Um, so yeah, the industry is fast paced and changed, and there's so much content out there. It's like, what do you watch? What do you have to enjoy? And then sometimes you're just tired of everything, and you just pop in a DVD and it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna watch this now.
Yeah, I think only there are only two good Christmas movies. One is Home Alone, and the other is Die Hard.
Even though Die Hard is technically not, it's filmed during Christmas, but it's
Yeah, I
technically not
for
a
me
Christmas
it
story.
is actually James Cameron actually said the perfect Christmas movie is Die Hard.
But Bruce Willis specifically said it's not a Die
I,
Hard.
I
Die
mean,
Hard is
James
not a
Cameron
Christmas
is
story.
better than Bruce Willis on that perspective. He makes a film. He only acts in it.
True.
Yeah, see, the only Canadian setting film I've watched, I don't even know if it's shot in Canada or not. I think it was uh, that film. Oh my god, I'm forgetting the name. That comic book character who have to
Oh, Scott Pilgrim.
Scott Pilgrim. Yeah, I got it. Scott Pilgrim was a great film. That was a great short
Yeah.
film. Yeah, was that
Uh,
shot in Toronto?
yeah, oh, yeah, completely. Like literally, you could see Casa Loma when Chris Evans was fighting Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
That was filmed at Casa Loma, which is a famous tourist place in Toronto. A lot of like everything was shot in and around Toronto or Scarborough or in that general area. Um, but yeah, that feature is just a beautifully shot feature. I don't think they're ever going to do a second film. I don't think they should do a second
Yeah,
film.
agree.
But the comic itself is well done if you enjoy a black and white style with action and tons of video game references and
Mm-hmm.
very Canadian in its own right because it was all drawn and written as a from a Canadian.
The author must be Canadian then, right?
Yes, yeah, definitely he is.
Yeah. So that's
Definitely
a
is. Yeah.
good thing because I don't want to be an Indian writing about an American going to work in New York, right? And similar for them, I
True.
don't want them to write about a Indian working in Bombay. I mean, it's Mumbai now, right? So
Yes.
how do you got into comic books? So it's like, is it because of the 1980s, growing up in 1980s or something?
Well, no, for me, I didn't grow up with mainstream comics like Marvel or DC. I didn't get into comics until um, late '90s, I think, ear- early to mid '90s. I was playing World of Warcraft, and a friend of mine, Phil, who was one of my guildmates, he literally said, "Hey, do you like reading web comics?"
Hmm.
And so for me, web comics were like Penny Arcade and PvP and Mega Tokyo and things like that. And so and he said, well, okay, like I have a list, and his list of web comics was over 4,000 web comics, on a bookmarks HTML file. He sent it to me, and I installed it, and everything was categorized when their release schedule was, and were they weekly or daily or monthly or every other day or whatever the case may be. And I just got really into the webcomic scene because one, it's free because you're paying
Mm-hmm.
for internet, and two, there was so much content out there, so many different genres. Do you like comedy? Do you like action? Do you want a slice of life comic? There was so much to read there that I just was like, oh, this is really cool. This is amazing. And that's what led to basically Two Geeks Talking in the show, was because of this list of webcomics. And I don't think I'd be doing a show for 18 plus years if I didn't read webcomics to start. And I still read them to this day.
How should I get into comics? I always wanted to get into comics, but I just couldn't. Can you tell
As a
me?
reader or as a creator?
No, as a reader, I cannot draw that good.
Well, I think it comes down to just searching webcomic. Just there's webcomic lists out there that you can read. That's the best free alternative. There are some really beautifully drawn comics out there. There's so many different genres for you to gravitate towards. Like I also read manga on my phone too.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a couple of apps that I use. One is called Mihan that I use, and that has, I think I have 300 comics I currently read on there, and it's just they're translated. They're Asian manga and manhwas and all that stuff, and they're translated to English. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just I have a list, and I go through that on a daily basis. The same with the web comics. I have my list still as well too. I don't know how active they are, but because a lot of those web comics I used to read are not there. But find a genre you like, type in that genre space web comic, and see what comes up, and maybe you'll find something you enjoy and bookmark it and support that creator if you can. Then by sharing it usually is the easiest solution if you don't have
Yeah.
finances. So
I mean, nowadays everything is technically free if you can use a thing called torrent. Do you support piracy?
yes, I have pirated in the past, but when it comes to content that wasn't available in my country, that's all. So if something was strictly, say, like a Paramount Plus or whatever, sure,
Mm-hmm.
I'd find it and go from there. But it's because I'm not going to pay $20 a month for something like that. If I like the series, then I'll definitely buy the DVD because I love physical media. I love having that ability to rewatch things, as I previously mentioned. So yeah, it's not, it hasn't disappeared. It's been around forever. So people that said, "Oh, piracy is on the way out thanks to streaming and blah blah blah," no, it never really went away. You just didn't look hard enough.
I think I was reading the statistic earlier, and that was like people were stopping to do piracy when Netflix actually came around earlier in the earlier times, but
Mhm.
the when the other streaming services came, and they all have their own democracy over it, then the piracy actually started to come again because I understand spending $20 on Netflix. I don't understand spending $20 on Netflix, then on Prime, then on
Mhm.
maybe Hulu, Tubi, Movie,
Sure.
and all of these other things. I cannot. I mean, it's far easier for me to go around and do a piracy thing. I mean, how much is a
Mm.
VPN? And how many people do use VPN to, you know,
Oh,
pirate these
100%.
things?
Yeah,
Nobody
you have
actually.
to, or else. Oh no, I think a lot of people do nowadays because you get the occasional message from your ISP saying, "Hey, we know you're pirating. You should probably stop that."
Is that a
So,
problem in the North American, subcontinent? Because
oh,
that's not
oh
in
yeah,
the in India at all.
yeah. Oh no, the lawyers of the large streaming platforms that actually own the content will actively go after people. There are, I don't think there's many cases these days, but you can still search for it saying uh, Paramount sues streamer. I mean, that's how Pirate Bay got taken down. Basically, was because of all of that content. It's now owned by, I think, the FBI, so you probably shouldn't use that website. But I think a lot of the because it's so expensive, as we talked about here, it gets difficult to figure out what exactly do you want to pay for and what exactly do you not have access to. So if there's a particular show, you can either wait for DVD to come out in 3 to 6 months or whatever it is, or you can find it online. Uh, Same with movies. Movies nowadays, especially in theater, they're not even having the long release times that they used to have back in the day, where you could see them in the theater for a month. Now they're just you have like 2 weeks, and immediately after the
Mm-hmm.
film's done, it's already on by digital download. You're able to download it. Sorry, pay for it, but
Mm-hmm.
you still download it. And if they take that off that platform, you don't have access to it anymore. So it's like, what exactly do you want to spend your money on for the media you want to consume? And you have to be personally, you have to be choosy, because do you actually have access to that content for forever? If you do, great. If not, well, you just wasted $20 that could be taken away from you in a year, and they are not going to refund you whatsoever.
Don't you think the amount of time, the amount of weeks a film is on the theater related to the box office collection it is doing? Because there's this film called Dhurandhar, which recently released in India. I don't know where. I cannot pinpoint the date. I think it's late 2025, and it is still on the theaters, and it's really doing that very great.
So it's doing great or it's not doing great.
No, it's doing really great, and it's
Oh,
not on the on the streaming platform yet, but
mhm.
Netflix did purchase the rights to it.
Okay. I mean, that's a testament to people wanting to still see it in the theater, which is extending its life in the theater, which is great to see. That means it's hit very well for the audience it was going for. Um, you can get a thing like a Marvel release or whatever, and it gets released in theaters for like a week, and people are already tired of it, and now it's already on 5 different streaming platforms. Like, if you make good films and good TV series that an audience is gravitated towards it, that they love it, and they're willing to say, "Hey, you should really check out this film or this TV show," uh, that word of mouth is stronger than any advertising dollars you can actually have, because everyone wants to see something that everyone else says is really good, unless they don't actually like it. Then
Yeah,
then there's only so much you can do.
I mean, I do really rely on people's review on films and TV shows
Mhm.
and books actually, because we don't really have that much time to waste on bad media, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I totally support the people who go first day, first show, and then type out their review. I have a genuine respect to them, because
yeah.
they do have that patience, not patience. They do really have that much money that they can waste on a movie. I mean, waste, or it's worth it. We don't know
Yeah.
about that, right? So, what are your thoughts about the Netflix acquisition of the Warner Brothers? That's a hot topic.
Yeah, that's something, because I mean, it's a huge catalog to begin with. I mean, Batman the Animated Series,
Mm-hmm.
Animaniacs, like everything and anything that Warner Brothers has ever created is now part of Netflix's streaming platform. And it's probably going to get to the point where the streaming platforms are going to basically merge into one, or three, the big three. I think it's going to be Paramount, Amazon, and Netflix will be the only three that'll remain. And then you'll have like free services like Tubi and whatever else that are
Mm-hmm.
kind of just on the outliers. But Netflix acquiring this, it just depends on what they're going to do. Yeah, they're going to completely release all the content, and that's awesome to see. But they're also, are they getting out of the creation of their own content? Because a lot of the content that Netflix has created has only lasted one season, and then it gets taken away. No matter how critically acclaimed, the fan base loves that content. So,
I think only Stranger
like,
Things survived that.
I don't know
Yeah.
how it's. I really don't know how it survived that. To be perfectly honest, I enjoyed the first season. I enjoyed the second season, but I never watched three, four, and five.
I
It just
never,
got to the point where now you're
yeah,
stretching it out.
I never watched after the second season, first episode, because I think because of the time gap between the season one
Mm,
and two. But I was like, no,
yeah.
I have other good series to enjoy, so I was like, no. And I
Eh,
think, yeah, continue.
No, no, no. I completely agree. It's just like I'm sure it's a great series, and from what I saw, like if they would have stopped after season two, I would have been awesome. This is great. But that comes down to fan reactions. That came down to uh, the Duffer Brothers. That came down to Netflix saying we have a huge hit on our hands. We're making a ton of money on this with merchandising and everything like that. We are just raking it in here. Let's beat a dead horse
I mean,
until we can't get anything else.
I think in the new documentary they showed that Duffer Brothers were writing with the help of Chat GPT. I think that was one of the open tabs in their laptops in the Duffer Brothers shots. I think that was a very close up shot.
Oh,
Yeah, and
okay.
they were sitting with the laptop on. I think they were on Google Docs or something, and one of those tabs was Chat GPT, and that and people are like, that's the reason why Stranger Things season five wasn't that good.
Yeah, but I think you also have to look at you have five or six different story threads or more than that, to be honest, of the characters. Like who, even though the five or six kids, however many there were,
Mm-hmm.
are the main focus, they don't have enough time to tell everyone's story
Yeah.
to flesh it out. I think that's where you can write yourself into a corner and you have to sacrifice characters in order to figure out what is the end goal of this particular story. And it's difficult though. I mean, you have influence from Netflix, you have influence from the public, you have your own influence as a creative person trying to create a multi-million-dollar show. Like
Mm-hmm.
there are sometimes too many chefs in the kitchen in order to get something made where originally in the first two seasons it had a clear focus, but now you start introducing other elements to make it more either thriller based or or sci-fi or whatever it is, and you kind of lose the message. And that's maybe why a feature film is better than a series sometimes, where you have to have a tight story in 2 hours or an hour and 20 minutes when you have five seasons at, I don't know, 10 episodes, whatever it was, to try and shoehorn in all of the content you're trying to create.
I mean, both of them have their places. I enjoy both of them, but I think if you have a big enough story to wrap it up, I think it's really great to show anthologically in every episode. For the starting episode, I mean, I can be wrong. I have never tried it. I'm not a director or a TV writer, but if you have so many storylines, it's very great to anthologically proceed with it in the like the starting episodes of the season. Like
Mhm.
let's say when watching Game of Thrones, right? We have the whole arc happening in the north. The battle with the frozen ones, right?
Right.
It was, if there was no adult scene with Arya and Gendry, that would have been fine. They didn't really have to put money in that. But anthologically speaking, if we had them going 4 or 5 episodes just the battle, and then moving on to the what's their city called, King's Landing, and going
Yeah,
that way, it would have been very great. But I think
it's
they
true.
messed it up because of, I was listening to this podcast by Joe Rogan. He had Matt Damon and Affleck on, and
Hmm.
Affleck said nowadays they are pressuring writers to actually repeat
Hmm.
what the aim of the episode or the movie is four
Yeah,
or five times because people are on their phones. I think it's both ways. Netflix is on have their problems. We as viewers have our problems. because I can count 3 or 4 times just this past week. I opened my phone during watching a film, and I was just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling on X, right? And they are like, okay, I'm watching Knives Out, and Anna de Armas is just running with Chris Evans. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
That's a very big problem nowadays, because these social media platforms are so accessible. I mean, you grew up in a zone when there was no social media.
Yeah, well, I grew into it basically. You guys have lived with it. I
Mm-hmm.
grew when it started. Um, it's not like we had social media platforms. It just wasn't called social media. We had Messenger, like AIM. We had ICQ. We had
Mm-hmm.
uh, even Hotmail had one as well too. There was so many ways to connect with people, and uh, we had Skype and for one-on-one conversations. We had but this is well before Discord even was created,
Mm-hmm.
which Discord is the basis of Skype, basically. Uh, we had other ways of communication. Uh, and it's not, you're right, it's not as accessible as social media now. The internet back in that day, you actually had information, you didn't have advertising. You actually could search for something and find something just as easy as going to a library. Uh, but with today's social media platforms, what is true and what is fake? And with AI, as rampant as it is, you're going to have to take absolutely everything with a grain of salt. And that's not just on, say, Twitter or Instagram or whatever. I'm talking like your Facebook feed. Like
Mm-hmm.
my folks will look at a Facebook feed and say, "Is this real? Like, is
Right.
this medical thing real or whatever?" And it's just like, they're at least skeptical. They're not just
Mm-hmm.
buying into everything, which is good. But you as a person have to figure out uh, with especially with social media platforms, especially with you're trying to watch content while you're scrolling on your phone. Um, that's either just lazy writing or they're just trying to gain your attention to something that's critical. But the same can be said for TV and film that would actually say the title of their TV or film during the dialogue
Yeah.
as well. So it's kind of a callback to that style of things.
Yeah. But the social media now we have in our hands is basically
Mhm.
more dynamic rather than personal. When
Yeah.
you guys had it, right? Now I can scroll through the photos of a guy in Bali doing Pilates, right? And I'm sitting in India, and you
Right.
are in Canada. But
Mhm.
in the old times, in the ancient times, you guys didn't have that accessibility, right? You can only talk to people you knew. You cannot just we are talking, and I didn't really knew you before I contacted you, right? We were away, so many miles away, even like what, some 12 hours away in time zone wise, right? And that
Mhm.
is one of the things that I philosophize. I think now is that a guy sitting in India might have the same opinions and views and the same Instagram feed as a guy sitting in Canada, or a guy sitting in maybe in Russia, if they still have the things. I think they have, right? Yeah,
I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, they have the sanctions and all of that. I mean, their war is not ending now. That's a problem.
Yeah,
I mean, I just
yeah.
don't like wars.
No one likes wars. No one should go to war or have wars. But that's another conversation for another
Mm-hmm.
time. So
But I do really think wars are the sole reason we have these technologically advanced items we have. Do you agree?
yeah, any how do I word it? Technology is going to improve no matter what. I mean, look at the history of humankind, from making fire to making bow and arrow to
Mm-hmm.
gunpowder.
But I think it
Uh,
it just speeds it up.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the fact that we have nuclear armament still
Mm-hmm.
is one way to reset the world, but it's not a great opportunity to. No one should ever use it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it just comes down to, yeah, technology is going to advance no matter what. You look at AI the way it is currently, you implement that, and that's already implemented into smart systems for weapons, apparently. So we're just one step closer to Terminator 2, Skynet, and it's a shame. Hopefully, it never gets to that point.
Yeah. I mean, it can after I die, so that's not a bigger problem. Uh,
So it's not my problem. It's someone
yeah,
else's. Yeah,
right. It's my kid's problem then, or my kid's kids. So yeah, it's not
sure.
gonna be my problem. I'm not gonna. I cannot face a guy like Arnold coming at me, trying to, you know, with a gun kill me. I'll just sit down and I'll be like, okay, kill me. There's no other way that I'm gonna survive. So, right.